What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the Mid-Level Media channel, your hub for everything physical media and entertainment. I am Ken, back again for another recommendation video. 5 4K movies that you need to have in your collection from Universal. So I'm super excited to dive into this recommendation video. I've done other recommendation videos like this. I've done Warner Brothers 4K recommendations. I've done Arrow Video recommendations. I've done Scream Factory recommendations, Criterion recommendations. And yeah, I thought I would dive into another studio, big studio label today with Universal. And the one thing I noticed with Universal, and I haven't done Paramount yet, I haven't done Fox, Disney or whatever yet, but I did do Warner Bros. And it just felt like Universal kind of lacks the quantity, I guess, is what I noticed going there. At least I don't have a ton of the Universal catalog. I've got so many Warner Brothers movies and Sony and Paramount and stuff like that, but it feels like I just had a lot less Universal. But the ones that I did have, the ones that Universal does put out, are true heavy hitters and just really great ones to talk about owning. So I'm excited to get into it with you guys here today. But before we do that, guys, I want to ask that if you are not yet a subscriber of the Mid-Level Media channel, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button for more great content. Also, be sure to like this video and comment down below of all the ones that we cover here today, which ones are your favorites. Also, if I left any Universal 4K discs out that you love, let me know in that comment section below. So let's get into it, guys. And before I get into the official recommendations, I just want to kind of go back and just go over like when Universal first got into the 4K format. So apparently, according to this article that I looked up, it's from The Verge, they were among the last of the big studios to adopt the 4K format. So we have Warner Brothers out, Fox, Paramount, all of them had 4Ks out, Sony as well. I believe Sony was the first to put out stuff in 4K. They all had stuff out already. Universal was the last to get into it in the summer of 2016. They put out Warcraft on 4K. They put out Everest, Lucy, Lone Survivor, and Jason Bourne. So those are all like movies. I think Warcraft and Jason Bourne came out in the summer of 2016, and Everest and Lucy and Lone Survivor I think would have been more back catalog titles that they put out there. So I just thought that was an interesting thing to know that they were the last to get into the 4K format 2016. And since then, you know, they've released some serious heavy hitters. Like I said, maybe they've got the same amount as Paramount and Warner Bros. It just feels like it's a little bit less to go through. But I still found some great stuff. And these titles, guys, I'm telling you right now, need to be in your collection. If you are a 4K enthusiast, if you are a movie enthusiast, these titles need to be in your collection. So we're going to start off with something a little bit more recent. And this one came out in 2019. It was a Best Picture nominee, and that is 1917. This World War I movie directed by Sam Mendes. I absolutely adore this movie. This is my favorite film of the entire year that it came out. This is now my favorite war film of all time. I just saw this in the theater. It was one of the last movies that I remember seeing in the theater before everything went to shit and all the theaters shut down. I saw 1917 in the theaters, and it was such a great theatrical experience. Everybody knows the one-take gimmick, but it's so enthralling. It's so immensely engrossing, just the story, just how it brings you into this war. And it's not just the gimmick of the one take. That is spectacular. It is jaw-dropping. It is breathtaking. But it's also the characters, it's also the performances, it's also the set design, the special effects, just everything that goes into this movie is spectacular. I'm just completely drawn into the story every single time I watch this movie. I love everything about it. There's twists in this movie that you don't expect. There's moments that truly shock you. And just some horrific moments of just war. And World War I is a war that truly fascinates me. I love World War I movies, probably more than I do World War II movies, if I'm being honest. I love 1917. I love Paths of Glory. You know, Wonder Woman, I know, is not technically a war movie, but that World War I sequence that takes place in there, All's Quiet on the Western Front. There's some really, truly classic war films that have the World War I setting, and I always just find it so much more fascinating because there's just something about it that just feels a lot more This feels a lot more primitive. I don't know what you say. Just a lot rawer, a lot grittier. The trench warfare is just terrifying. The fact that they had to hide in the trenches and go in, and that's how they fought each other. In World War II, it's just like dropping bombs and planes and stuff like that. And that's cool stuff too. I just like stripping it down to more like the bare bones, like you're fighting your enemy across the battlefield in the trenches. It just feels more visceral. And yeah, I love 1917. It's just such a stunning movie. I don't know. The score by Thomas Newman is so spectacular. I love the score. It's probably one of my favorite scores in the past few years of movies. So 1917 is an absolute must-have in anybody's collection. And also, guys, the 4K transfer in this is absolutely stunning. It's spectacular. It will take your breath away. Everything about this movie looks absolutely phenomenal. I can't say enough good things about 1917. Absolutely love this movie. You have to have this 4K in your collection. So right now, guys, we are, as I tape this, and I don't know when I'm dropping this, but it might be a little bit later. Right now it's $9.99 on Amazon, but I know that deal is probably going to be going away by the time I drop this video. But I believe usually it's about $15 on Amazon. So I'll leave the link down below for purchase. Maybe the deal will still be in effect, but right now it's $9.99, but I'm pretty sure that Black Friday deal is still in effect right now. I also got the Steelbook. That's how much I love this movie. I had to double dip on it. The Steelbook is awesome. I love the design on it. I was happy that Target put these back into stock because I didn't get it on the first run through. And yeah, just absolutely stunning, guys. I love the disc art on here. It's just such a spectacular release. But yeah, there's making ofs on this. There's audio commentaries, just all kinds of great stuff on this release. I can't say enough good things. I love 1917 so much. This next one, guys, that I'm going to get into is a Martin Scorsese film. I just watched this movie for the first time this year, if you can believe it or not. And it's not Goodfellas. It's not Goodfellas. I've heard bad things about the transfer. I don't own that 4K though, but it's Casino. And it's one that a lot of people will say is better than Goodfellas. I don't think it's better than Goodfellas. If anything, they're pretty on par with each other. I love Goodfellas, and I also love this movie. I think it's freaking amazing. I was blown away by this film when I watched it. Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci. Joe Pesci in this movie is probably the best Joe Pesci performance ever. Like, he's better in this movie than Goodfellas. I will say that, even though I don't think the movie is necessarily as good as Goodfellas. I don't think it has the energy and the pace that Goodfellas has. It's a little bit more rawer. It's a little bit more grittier than Goodfellas is, I would say. But it doesn't have the pace and it doesn't have the energy. It's a little bit more of a slower movie, a little bit more of a slower burn, I would say. Kind of focusing on a little bit more of the relationship between Robert De Niro and his wife and Joe Pesci and all that stuff. But Joe Pesci in this movie is so good. That scene where he stabs the guy in the neck with a pen is just, oh my God, it's so good. He's like a little rabid pit bull in this film. But Casino, the movie's great. Like I said, I just watched it for the first time this year. It's honestly probably top 5 Scorsese for me. It'll probably be like Goodfellas, Taxi Driver, Casino, Raging Bull, Wolf of Wall Street. Those will probably be in my top 5 Scorsese films. Just thinking off the top of my head, there might be some other ones I'm missing in there, but this movie's stunning in 4K. I'll say that right now. This is honestly, I swear to God, honestly, probably maybe top 5 4Ks I've ever seen. I thought this movie looked stunning. Just the colors of the casinos, the colors of Robert De Niro's red suit right there, just how everything pops in this movie so incredibly well. And yeah, just with the bright lights and the Vegas lights and all that stuff, it just looks so good, guys. I cannot say enough good things about the transfer of this. It absolutely blew me away. Like, this is how you do a 4K transfer. If you have been sleeping on Casino, if you don't own this movie, if you don't own this 4K, guys, you have to. If you have the Blu-ray in your collection, you're like, I don't need to upgrade. You will never see the film. You have never seen this film the way you will see it in 4K. I can promise you that. It looks absolutely stunning. So definitely get Casino. You can get Casino right now, guys, for $14.99. So I don't think it's on any Black Friday deals or anything. I think that's what it always is. But it's also got a lot of great special features as well. Audio commentaries, deleted scenes and makings of and all that stuff. So it's the full package. You will not be disappointed if you get Casino in 4K. I can tell you that right now. Absolutely stunning. So, and one thing I'll say about Universal, I've said this a lot on the channel. I have an issue with how they do their fork. I hate how bulky that is at the top, how it takes so much of the cover space of this. I just don't like it. I wish it was a little bit smaller. I love the way Warner Brothers does it, also Paramount, but Universal, you guys need to tone it down with your 4K banner at the top. So I just want to get that out of the way because I always mention it whenever I do like collection videos and stuff. So the next one, guys, that we're going to talk about is an all-time classic. When this was announced to come out, I screamed like a little girl inside. Actually, there's two of these that I did that to in here, and it's one of my favorite movies of all time. It's in my top 5 movies of all time. It is my number 4 film of all time, and that is Jaws. This has to be in anybody's collection. If you love film, like, you have to have Jaws in your collection, one. And if you love good quality and presentation in your movies, then you have to get Jaws on 4K. I swear, Jaws, Bruce the Shark has never looked better than he does in this movie. It's absolutely stunning. And, you know, I know a lot of people would say, like, it hasn't aged the best. The shark doesn't look real. I actually think the shark still looks terrifying. And this 4K, if anything, proves that when you can notice more stuff, like you can see more of the shark, I still think he's terrifying. I still think those effects hold up. Yeah, it doesn't look completely real, but to be honest, I've never been confronted face to face with a shark, so I can't really discern what's real or fake with a shark. Like, it looks pretty damn good to me, if I'm being honest. It looks a hell of a lot better than any other movie would try to do with doing like CGI sharks like Deep Blue Sea or The Meg, some of them other films. I think that the rubber shark, the Jaws, looks the best. I think it looks the best. The classic shark from this movie, the shallows, the CGI, just all that stuff, that doesn't look real. That doesn't look real. I would take the rubber shark, the mechanical shark that Steven Spielberg put together in this movie any day of the week over those. So right here, guys, you got this cool lenticular cover on this one. And I think that they have slip covers for this now instead of the lenticular, so I don't know if you can still get that. But I know at one point you could get the Steelbook and Target still. So looking at the actual case itself, guys, kind of zoom in on some special feature. I don't feel like I've been doing that with you guys. You got some disc art in there. So yeah, this is just a great release, guys. I was so excited when this came out. This was like the highlight of 2020 for me when this came out. You got a cool little booklet inside this release. Super awesome. Yeah, this is one of the greatest movies of all time, guys. It's an adventure movie. It's a horror film. It's a character piece just between these 3 characters going out on a boat. The camaraderie between them as they're hunting the shark, trying to protect their town. It's so many things. And I love this movie so much. Honestly, it's one of those movies that you're like, is this a movie that really holds up? Does this really stand the test of time? And every single time you watch it, you're like, yes, absolutely. This is just one of the best movies ever made. This movie can do no wrong to me. The score is fantastic by John Williams. This movie's everything. And I'm so happy it got the 4K treatment. Honestly, looks stunning. Looks stunning when they're going out and over the sea, the waves and the stuff, the clouds, everything in this movie, the facial detail. That scene where he's sitting on the beach and that classic Steven Spielberg zoom into his face. It just looks fantastic. This whole movie looks fantastic. If you don't have Jaws on 4K in your collection, you need Jaws on 4K in your collection right now. Right now you need it in your collection. Order it off of Amazon, and right now you can get it for $19.99. So not the cheapest 4K price. I'm trying to see if there's any other releases for this, and no, just the 4K, guys, is $19.99. So it has jumped up in price. It's not on sale right now, but it's still a great release, and I highly recommend it. One of the best movies of all time in 4K. So let's move on to the next one, guys, and we're going to talk about some Pacino. We talked about some De Niro. We talked about some Pesci. Now we're going to talk about Pacino and Brian De Palma's Scarface. So believe it or not, I watched Scarface for the first time this year. I absolutely loved it. This movie, again, like Casino, blew me away. I really need to get more into these like old school like gangster movies. I still need to watch Carlito's Way. Need to get that one in 4K. I haven't got that one yet. So Scarface in 4K looks stunning. It's a 1982 film, I believe, or 83. And yet it looks like it was just made yesterday. Like, this movie looks fantastic. Pacino looks great in this film. Just the facial details of this, the way that his mansion looks. It just all looks so good. It all looks so eloquent and extravagant. and amazing. I love this story, this kind of rags to riches, you know, a guy that was good and kind of pulled himself up from the bootstraps and kind of turns into this kingpin towards the end. And it was very, when you watch this movie, you realize this is where Breaking Bad came from. Like, this is exactly where the show Breaking Bad, and I love Breaking Bad. It's one of my all-time favorite shows. So watching this and that being one of my all-time favorite shows, I was like, you could just see the comparisons and the inspirations in this film, and I absolutely loved it. Michelle Pfeiffer is a fox in this movie. She looks fantastic. She's fantastic in her performances. Al Pacino, man, the more I watch of this dude, Dog Day Afternoon, I watched for the first time this year, Scarface, Heat. He's just one of the greatest. He's a living legend. Him and Robert De Niro are probably the top two greatest actors of all time, hands down. So I got to recommend Scarface. There's a lot of great special features on here as well. So definitely check it out. I know when it came out, it had like that big like World Globe edition. I don't know if that's still available right now, but the 4K is available for $14.96. So not a bad price at all for the 4K of Scarface. And you have to have that in your collection, guys. You have to. Have to. This next one, again, a little bit of a cheat. It's not a singular movie, but it is a trilogy. And of course, I can't do a universal 4K collection recommendation video without talking about Back to the Future, guys. I can't do it. And you know, if this release wasn't so great, these are already just some of the greatest movies of all time. You guys already know that. I don't have to explain to you why Back to the Future is so great. Chances are, if you're watching this video, I'm not going to tell you anything new. You know Back to the Future is great. It just kind of, are you a fan of Back to the Future Part 3 and 2 is always the question, because everybody loves the first one. That's pretty universal. So the transfers on these guys, though, I knew they were going to look good. And this was the other one I squealed like a little girl when this was announced. This one in the Friday the 13th collection came out within a couple of weeks ago. They were announced within a couple of weeks of each other. I was like a kid in a candy store when all these announcements were happening last year. But yeah, this is just such a great release. They look fantastic. I honestly, when I watched the first Back to the Future in 4K for the first time, I almost cried. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. They look so good. I had never seen them look so good. I had not even owned a Blu-ray version of these. I had these on DVD, and then I sold them a few years back, and I never upgraded to Blu-ray. So this is the first time that I rebought these and put them in my collection. I watched them in 4K without ever seeing them in Blu-ray. I've seen them on TV, so I probably saw them in HD at some point, but I was blown away. I'd never seen Back to the Future look like this. I was noticing stuff that I had never noticed in my 100 watch-throughs when I was a kid. I almost cried. I really did. I got teary-eyed. It's so good. When Michael J. Fox up there playing the guitar, the look of the guitar, how red it looks, how vibrant, just how great the Enchantment Under the Sea dance looks, all the colors in the background, the car, the freaking DeLorean looks amazing. When they first land touchdown in the future and Back to the Future Part 2 and it's raining, you see the rain kind of glistening off the car. It just, I've never seen it look like that, and it was amazing, and I couldn't believe it. But yeah, I did some reviews of this. I think Part 1 and Part 2, so I have those up on the channel. But I never got a chance to do 3, and I did watch 3. I just didn't film a review for it. That one looks stunning as well. And I know there's some 3 haters out there. I don't get it, because 3, to be honest with you, perfectly honest with you, is my second favorite Back to the Future movie behind the first one. I would go first one, Part 3, and then Part 2. I love Part 3. I love Part 3 more and more as I get older, I think, because I learn to appreciate it for some of the new things that it does. Like Doc Brown is really, he's a great character in the first 2, but he's really kind of a side character. And I like how they give him more of a spotlight in Part 3, how they give him a love interest with Claire. I just really love that one. I love the Western setting. I love the train sequence at the end. There's just a lot of things I love about the third one. So don't sleep on Back to the Future Part 3. It's one of the best of the trilogy. They're all great though. They're all like in my top 50 movies of all time. Love these movies. This is a great set, guys. You got tons of special features. You got 1 hour of all new bonus features that hadn't been included on any other releases before. The Hollywood Museum goes Back to the Future. Back to the Future, the musical behind the scenes. An alternate future, lost audition tapes. Could you survive the movies Back to the Future? Just all kinds of great stuff on this release, guys. Fantastic. They look fantastic. They're great movies. I know a lot of people don't love these like little envelope sets. Universal Monsters did it. The Hitchcock set did it. Which are some other great Universal releases that I thought about talking about. But I like these little sets. I like how the different movies are in each one. I like how they look on the front and the back right there. So this is a great set, guys. This is a great release. These are great 4Ks. Absolutely recommend you have it in your collection. Right now, guys, you can get the Back to the Future trilogy on 4K for $35.99. That is an absolute steal. And I think if you go to your local Target, I'm still seeing them in my Targets every now and then. You can get that Steelbook set for 60 bucks. Some great Steelbooks in there as well. So with that, guys, that is all of the releases. That is the 5 Universal releases that I believe you need to have in your collection, like right away. Put them in your collection right now. It's not going to cost you too much. It's going to cost you probably less than $100 for all of these, I believe. I'm going back $10. You got $25. You got $45. You got $60. Yeah, for less than $100, guys, you can have all of these in your collection right now. You have to do it. They're great releases. So with that, guys, we are done. All the links for purchase will be in the description below. They will be Amazon affiliate links, so if you use them, you will be supporting the channel. Please, guys, like always, like this video, and also comment down below of everything I covered here today, which are some of your favorites. Also, be sure to leave me some of your own Universal recommendations down in the comment section below. Subscribe to the channel for more great content. Turn on those bell notifications for all of those future videos, and we'll see you next time.